Let's begin our journey into the world of the Vikings with a ritual that is as shocking as it is fascinating. We're starting with something that might just turn your stomach, a practice that would make most of us recoil in horror today. Picture a Viking warrior moments before the chaos of battle, consuming raw animal liver, fresh, bloody, and unseasoned. This ritual, especially among the legendary berserkers, was believed to transfer the animal's spirit and strength directly to the warrior, making him nearly unstoppable. The act was both a physical and psychological boost, iron-rich, energizing, and deeply symbolic, fueling the body and mind for the violence ahead. For Vikings, food was never just fuel, it was a statement of intent, a way to blur the line between man and beast, and to show unity with their fellow warriors. Eating raw liver was a sacrament of war, a bloody communion with aggression and vitality, a ritual that demanded courage and resolve. The ritual connected to sagas of warriors transforming into bears or wolves. This was not just a metaphor, but a real belief in the power of transformation, both physical and spiritual. By consuming the organ, they prepared for a state of ecstatic fury, terrifying both themselves and their enemies, entering a trance-like rage that was legendary. This single act reveals the Viking approach to pre-battle sustenance, a blend of nutrition, ritual, and magic, where every bite was a step closer to the divine. Their diet armed them from the inside out, seeking not just calories but symbolic power, believing that what they ate could shape their fate. The ritual of eating raw liver is the key to understanding the philosophy behind what a Viking ate before facing his enemies and his gods. It was a moment of connection to something greater. For the Norse, every meal before battle was a preparation for something greater than survival. It was a preparation for legend, for glory, and for the afterlife. The line between food and fate was razor thin, and every bite was a step into myth. The foundation of a Viking's energy was the humble porridge pot, a staple that fueled both body and spirit through the harshest of days. Viking porridge, or grauter, was a thick, hearty mix of barley or oats, slow-burning fuel for long battles and cold northern mornings. Imagine a cauldron bubbling at dawn, the air crisp as warriors gathered around the fire, fueling up for the day ahead with steaming bowls in hand. Honey and foraged berries added sweetness, vitamins, and a quick energy boost, transforming a simple meal into something both nourishing and satisfying. These grains were practical, easy to store, transport, and prepare, making them perfect for war parties on the move, or for families enduring long winters. Porridge was more than breakfast. It was a logistical tool, ensuring warriors could fight far from home, and that every member of the clan had the strength to face the day. The simple meal was the engine of the Viking war machine, providing endurance and strength and binding the group together in ritual and routine. A belly full of grauter meant a warrior could outlast his opponent, with stamina to row, march, or fight for hours on end. The choice of grains reflected the harsh northern climate, resilient, just like the people who ate them, able to thrive where little else could grow. Before the clash of steel, the first spoonful of porridge set the tone for the day, warming the body and sharpening the mind for whatever lay ahead. It was practical, powerful, and essential, a meal that was as much a part of Viking identity as their ships or swords. The unsung hero of the Viking diet, porridge was the quiet strength behind every raid, every journey, and every homecoming. In the end, it was the meal that made conquest possible, sustaining the Vikings through adventure, hardship, and triumph alike. The Vikings were people of the sea, and fish, especially herring, was a staple of their pre-battle diet. Herring provided protein for muscle and omega-3s for energy and alertness. The real genius was in preservation. Drying, smoking, and salting turned fish into portable, long-lasting rations. Barrels of salted herring traveled with every longship, ready to fuel warriors on raids. Dried herring was quick to eat and packed with salt to prevent muscle cramps. Other fish, cod, salmon, trout, offered similar benefits, reflecting the Vikings' mastery of their environment. A diet rich in fish kept them healthy and resilient, ready for battle after long voyages. Eating fish was more than nutrition. It was a connection to the sea, their gods, and their identity. Every bite was a reminder of their power as masters of the ocean. The strength of the sea became the strength of the warrior. Salted fish was both sustenance and a symbol of their world. For For Vikings, the sea's bounty was the foundation of their might. No pre-battle feast was complete without meat, a symbol of strength, wealth, and status. Leaders ensured warriors were well fed with roasted pork, beef stew, or wild game before battle. Meat provided protein and iron, fueling muscle and stamina. Wild animals like reindeer or boar were especially prized, believed to impart their strength to those who ate them. Communal feasting was a ritual, forging bonds and building morale. Large cuts roasted over open fires or boiled with root vegetables created calorie-dense, nourishing meals. Sharing meat affirmed fellowship and purpose, turning individuals into a unified force. Eating meat was an act of dominance, physical, economic, and symbolic. The feast was the first conquest, setting the tone for victory. Warriors drew power from the animal, preparing mentally for the fight ahead. The pre-battle meal was as much about unity as it was about sustenance. In the Viking world, meat was the food of conquerors. The feast before battle was a prelude to glory. No Viking feast was complete without the presence of ale and mead, the lifeblood of their celebrations and rituals. Ale, brewed from hearty barley, was thick, nutritious, and packed with calories, essentially liquid bread for warriors who needed strength and stamina. It was safer than water, which was often contaminated, and became a vital part of daily energy intake for both young and old. Mead, on the other hand, was made from fermented honey. It was sweeter, stronger, and far more precious, often reserved for special occasions, feasts, and ceremonies. Sharing mead before battle was both a reward and a ritual, a way to boost courage, camaraderie, and the sense of unity among warriors. The sugar in mead provided a quick burst of energy, while the alcohol lowered inhibitions and fueled bravado, making warriors feel invincible. Yet, Vikings understood the importance of moderation, drinking just enough to inspire courage, but never so much as to dull their senses or slow their reflexes. Drinking together forged powerful bonds, transforming pre-battle anxiety into confidence and a sense of shared destiny. Mead connected warriors to Odin and the promise of Valhalla, making every toast a defiance of death and a tribute to the gods. The ritual of drinking was a psychological weapon, preparing both mind and spirit for the chaos of battle that lay ahead. Ale and mead were more than just drinks. They were liquid courage, a taste of the divine, and a symbol of the Viking way of life. Every horn raised was a promise of glory, a salute to fallen friends, and a hope for honor in this world or the next. The pre-battle drink was as important as the sword itself, a final moment of unity, strength, and shared purpose before the storm of combat. Beyond farms and herds, Vikings relied on the wild for strength. Foraging for berries, roots, and nuts was essential, especially on campaign. Wild berries like lingonberries and bilberries provided vitamins and quick energy, warding off disease. Roots and wild onions added flavor and nutrients to stews and porridges. Hazelnuts were portable, calorie-dense snacks for warriors on the move. Foraging made Viking war bands self-sufficient, able to survive without supply lines. Eating wild foods was a way of mastering new lands, drawing strength from the earth itself. This deep connection to nature was both practical and symbolic. The wild was a hidden larder and a source of resilience. For Vikings, food was a weapon, shaping body, mind, and spirit before battle. The pre-battle meal was a ritual, building confidence and aggression. Eating certain foods was believed to transfer their qualities: bear's ferocity, bull's strength, the sea's energy. This wasn't just superstition, it was psychological conditioning. Communal feasting forged loyalty and unity, turning warriors into a brotherhood. Stories, songs, and oaths around the table transformed individuals into a fighting force. The meal was a ceremony, solidifying identity and purpose. In the Viking Age, victory often began with what was on the table. The Viking battle diet was a masterclass in practicality and power. Every food choice was about energy, preservation, and adaptability. Salting, drying, and smoking meat and fish allowed for long campaigns far from home. Barrels of herring, dried meat, and sacks of grain were the backbone of Viking logistics. One-pot stews and porridges maximized nutrition and minimized effort. Vikings understood through experience which foods fueled endurance, strength, and health. Their diet reflected centuries of survival in a harsh world. It balanced long-term rations with fresh and foraged foods. The Viking diet didn't just feed warriors, it empowered them to conquer. Their success was as much about what was in their cauldrons as what was in their hands. The Viking pre-battle meal was a tapestry of nutrition, ritual, and resilience. Every food choice built a warrior from the inside out, fueling both body and spirit. Their diet drew strength from land, sea, and wild, reflecting their adaptable identity. This self-sufficiency made them unpredictable and formidable. The resilience of the Viking warrior was rooted in the resilience of his food. The feast before the fight was the first act of battle, forging brotherhood and ferocity. The Vikings' legacy was written in blood and steel, but nourished by porridge, herring, and the power of a warrior's feast. In the end, what they ate shaped who they became.